This is the value of wrestling, the revolutionary force in wrestling podcasting.
Hey, it's your boy Miguel Z with the Value of Wrestling New Japan Rebound Podcast. I have a guest for you, folks.
Yeah, that boy. Hey, man, shout out to Value of Wrestling. I'm right here with the Big O's, San Jose. We gonna shut this shit down. Love and respect, all right? Value of Wrestling. Hello.
Man, thank you, brother. Thank you.
Oh, you didn't know? You better call somebody. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here, and we are live right here on YouTube at the Value Wrestling. This is your weekly roundup, and we are back for another week to discuss the world of professional wrestling right here on the weekly roundup. Let's get into the introductions. First off, you know him, a legend in his own mind, a legend of the time, the one, the only
Paulus Clarke.
And of course, the one, the only, the master of New Japan Pro Wrestling, the Encyclopedia Britannica of New Japan.
Miguel Z.
Oh, you know. And of course, you know me. I'm the one. I am the only. Yes. I'm the Big Tyme. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is another week down. Lots of stuff happened in this past week. From the big news with WWE to the Royal Rumble, everything in between. A lot of venom being shot last night, and we're going to get deep into the discussions. We're going to jump on the bandwagons of things, not necessarily the bandwagon, but we're going to jump right into it. We're going to cover some stuff we don't necessarily want to cover, but just so everybody knows, if you haven't gone and watched my Big Tyme rant on the subject matter of Vince McMahon, go check that out. That'll give you full detail of where we pretty much as a collective stand. But I'm not the face of this place. I'm not the man that started the camp. I'm not the man that runs the camp or runs this place or any of that. We're a collective unit, a collective group. And I made a statement based on my opinion. And my boys have backed me up on this. And we all kind of the same opinion. We all read the 67 pages of complete, just utter, lawsuit dropped on Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon is gone from WWE as of Friday, as of the round time. SmackDown aired East Coast time. If you're looking for all the details and all the juicy gossip and all the talk about what happened with this storyline and all those details, there are plenty of other podcasters that are going to hang on that notion and talk about it. We're not. We're done. We are going to discuss some of the fallout from it. And we're going to move on. We're going to find the positive. We're going to do like Triple H. We're going to look at the positive and what's going to happen moving forward. We're going to discuss just a little bit of what happened, not in detail. So if you're looking for the details, go find it yourself and go read the 67 pages all yourself and you get all the details. It's disgusting. It's deplorable. Vince needs to be erased from WWE history. He destroyed his legacy. Goodbye. That is done. That is happening as we speak and see, and that's fine. But the fallout from last night, there was a little bit of fallout of this issue that we want to get into. I'm going to paint you a story and see if you can connect the dots with me. The boys are going to join me in that conversation. But as far as Vince goes for all of us, I mean, I think he is up there with Benoit in a sense. And we're not going to like compare apples to oranges. It's just the fact that he needs to be erased from WWE history. He destroyed his legacy. He did it to himself. Anybody that was involved in that situation needs to be gone. Anybody with deep knowledge needs to be gone. I'm not talking about people who might have heard rumors or murmurs or kind of might have something new. That's a different story. But we're done. We're not going to get deep into it. What I do want to do is let my boys here give their brief statements. They may not have a statement on it, and that's perfectly fine, but I'm going to give them both an opportunity just to quickly speak on this subject matter so you all know that we, as a team, and that's what the Value Wrestling is. This is a family. This is a team. This is a group. None of us is better than the other one. We are all here equally giving 100% to make this the best company, and trying to not be to be pretenders, but to be true contenders. But anyways, let's get to the point. I'm going to give the floor to Mr. Clarke first. If there's anything you want to add to what I said in my rant, if there's anything that you feel or anything you need to say, and if there's nothing, that's fine too.
The reality of the situation is we're all individually going to probably follow the case. But to publicly speak on it is rather pointless. Let the system do what it needs to do. let those, the lawsuit do what it needs to do. If there's a point down the line where we feel like we can add on, or there's a reason why we need to speak on it publicly, then we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But as far as talking about the initial lawsuit and all the gory details and all that stuff, like Big Tyme was saying, there are plenty of other podcasts where you can read, the 67 case yourself if you want. It's like, if you're that bloody interested, it's out there.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom line, WWE now, without Vince McMahon, is in a new era. It is truly, creatively speaking, the ship is being driven by Paul Levesque. So now we finally get to see what is this new era really about, with no one else's hands outside of those within the company who should have some kind of say in the company for its best and healthiest interest.
Good words. And I think that simply puts it. We're not here to discuss it. We've all read it. We're going to keep up to date. If there's something that comes out of it, like Mr. Clarke says, then we'll address it. Whether it'll be a one-on-one, whether I will come on a rant and just quickly cover it, whether we'll discuss it here, it'll be up to what happens. But otherwise, we read it. It's in the past. They've done what WWE, TKO, they've done what they needed to do. Vince is gone. Vince is being erased from WWE history. And part of that is really, really sad because he has done so much for the business. We're not totally discrediting for what he has done, but what he's done has overshadowed all of that. And we're just like, Mr. Z, I know you're probably closer to some of my feelings as a father. I know this probably cringed you on a different level than others, but, let me give you the floor, and you can speak your truths on this matter, or not. But the floor is yours.
Well, you stated it best, and Paul, you stated it best too. We as collective unit have decided to. We did our due diligence, read it. We had Big Tyme came out with the response, and I love. And we as a collective unit are gonna move forward, and as well, you said, if something pops up that needs to be talked about, then we'll talk about it. But I feel like last night on our case, we did exactly what others should follow in suit and just move on and focus on the wrestling.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, that's what it's for. We're here, we're wrestling fans here for the wrestling fan. And that's what we are here to mainly discuss at this point moving forward.
No. And last night, I know. Go ahead.
When I started the Facebook group, when I started Value of Wrestling, before it became a podcast, before we became a collective, what I signed up for when I started was the fandom. We might talk a little bit about real life relationships or whatever, because it adds to the entertainment, but it's still escapism. It's still about entertainment. And so that's why I personally was kind of unnerved by all this.
No, and as a team, each of us brings something different to this program, and we all have different levels of investment. We're all very invested. We just always play our part, which you don't see behind the scenes. It's a whole different story, and we're not ones that are going to just open that door and let you peek behind the curtains, because it doesn't matter. It's what we do. And we enjoy that you come in here and have conversations. We enjoy that you follow us, and we appreciate everybody who does. And we appreciate for being part of the Value Wrestling family. And that is key. And we hope that you enjoy what we give you. And going forward, that is done. Now, the only other subject matter is kind of the thing that's ticking me off this morning as I wake up. As even in last night, we watched Royal Rumble, and we focused last night our show completely on the Rumble, because that's what we need to do. Like I said last night, this is a new era. There is not a McMahon hand in the cookie jar. This is a complete new era, and this is a new company. This is a new WWE, and we need to let them be who they're going to be moving forward. After the Rumble, they had a press conference for WWE. Now, there was a lot of speculation. Would questions be asked regarding the Vince McMahon situation? And, of course, they came up, which is perfectly fine, and I commend WWE, Triple H, whoever made these decisions, to let these people ask these questions instead of, rigging your group to get asked softball questions or Make sure you don't get asked real questions. I'm not going to point fingers. I'm just making statements. Triple H took it, and people are upset that Triple H didn't answer the questions. And my first question to you is, what do you really expect from him? It's a legal case that a lot of people can't talk about because it can get them caught up in a lot of other things, for one. Two, Triple H doesn't need to divulge into that, and we need to get away from that. Now, I get people wanting to ask. They asked the question. Triple H gave you an answer, and people are trying to belittle Triple H for basically saying, I hear what you're saying, but you know what I'm going to do? And we're going to talk about the positives. Just like we are saying the same things here, we are moving beyond that. We don't want to focus on that. If you want to go find that, I'm sure there's podcasters out there that'll get deep into the details with you and talk all about it until they're blue in the face. But we want to find the positive in wrestling, and moving forward, it's the same message we will send to Tony Khan. Why are we hard on AEW? Because we know AEW can bring it, and we just want to see them do positive growth. We want to get away from all the craziness that's happened with AEW, and now the craziness in WWE. We're not three people who want to live in this. Do we talk about it? Yeah, to an extent, because there's some newsworthy value, or we as podcasters owe our listeners some type of statement, and that's what we do. But my hard thing is the fact that people are going after Triple H for this, for not giving a real response, for avoiding the questions. Yes, we know Triple H was a part of the board that originally removed Vince from the board of directors as Vince retired. And then when Vince used his power and pulled his power, and let's look at this. Yes, Triple H, Stephanie was on the board, Nick Khan were all on the board when they reelected unanimously for Vince to be back as the executive chairman of the board. All right.
Bye.
So a lot of people want to come after Triple H, and you got to go after Nick Khan because everybody wants to celebrate Nick Khan as the savior of wrestling, but they want to go after Triple H as the villain, that he was working closely with his father-in-law. This is his father-in-law. How could he have not known? Do you know how many times we hear wives or husbands that were married to somebody and they had a second life? They're out doing something crazy and they had no clue? Just because you're married to somebody, just because you're in a relationship with somebody, just because you're family to somebody, doesn't necessarily mean you know everything that person's doing. Now, could Triple H have had some knowledge of something going funky? He knew the case and he put him back in power, but we also got to remember, Vince came in forcefully. He took that control. He had majority share of the stock of WWE at the time. He had 2 board members removed. He rewrote board rules and guidelines to make it happen. And then he brought in people who were going to vote him back in. And I'm sure he forced the hand of Triple H, Stephanie, and Nick Khan to be like, okay, we got to vote him in and we'll figure out some other way to do it. Because Vince was not going to allow the new TV deals. He wasn't going to allow the company to be sold. He was going to cripple WWE until it was pretty much dead if they didn't let him back in the board. So being mad that Triple H voted him back on the board and saying Triple H allowed this to happen, I think you need to stop. We do not know what level of Triple H knowledge had. And I don't believe Triple H knew all the knowledge. And let's look at this. The dates of this crap are about the same times that, and they can both back me up, we've all read it. It's the same times that all of a sudden Vince seemed to start attacking Triple H and NXT and pulling people out and throwing on shows and making them look ridiculous and stirring that pot up with him and Triple H. And we all thought, well, Vince is just mad because Triple H is doing better than him. Maybe it's because Triple H knew a little something and wasn't happy with Vince. They were not riding together. They were not working together a lot of during this time until Triple H got put back, until Triple H was in creative at WWE, and then Vince came back. And yeah, they were kind of working together, but not in the way it used to be. They're used to, if you go back before all this scandalous crap happened, you can see Triple H and Vince working together. But after all this started happening, do your due diligence, look into your history. You're going to start seeing a difference in their relationship and their interactions and the way things go. Is it perfect? No. It's Triple H. I just don't think Triple H needs to be attacked, vilified, and definitely I don't think Triple H needs to be removed from WWE and be unemployed and join his father-in-law in the unemployment line because of this, because I do not feel Triple H had the deep knowledge. Did he have some ground level? Possibly. And how do we know he wasn't trying to do things to make it right? We don't know. Again, let's do our due diligence before we just start crucifying people. Mr. Clarke.
You want to talk about due diligence? Everyone, or not everyone, but a lot of people are focusing on the fact that Vince was voted in. Do we not remember that it was unanimous, including a Nick Khan, including a Stephanie McMahon, including a Paul Levesque, that said, we don't want you back.
Yeah.
You are not, vote of zero confidence practically.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why Vince forced himself in, because he had to.
He wanted to.
He's so egotistical that he's not going to, if he has the power, he's not going to step down.
Mm-hmm.
He might do things temporarily, but he wanted back in. And since he had those tools, he coerced, did whatever he had to do to get back into power. So why are we looking at Paul Levesque like he knew everything and he had any power to stop him? Because he didn't.
No. And Triple H wasn't on the inside. Vince was not inviting Triple H to these things because this wasn't a Triple H thing. So I don't think Triple H knew enough. But yes, you have to say he probably knew his father-in-law was probably not. But you can see the divide. If you start looking back at the dates this all began and how these things started vilifying, you can see a divide between Stephanie and her dad. You can see a divide between Triple H and Vince. There was a lot of fallout. There was a lot of friction. Just a lot of stuff that you can pinpoint back at. And then you see that Vince was trying to destroy NXT and pretty much took Triple H out of power. And then Triple H had that heart attack. He had to go away for a while. And you wonder what may have led to that. So all I'm saying is let's move away from this. The people who are responsible are going to be held accountable. TKO is going to clean out the corporate end of WWE if there's anybody left. Now we understand probably more than ever why Kevin Dunn hightailed it out of there before the end of the year. Because he wasn't protected anymore, amongst other things. And hell, if anything, last night the camera work was 20 times better than what we've seen in years. I mean, WWE's Royal Rumble, the presentation, the camera work, the zooming in and out, the bigger arena pictures showing the whole crowds, all these things. When Naomi came out, her entrance felt so amazing. When they would expand way out and do like a drone shot and show all the lights and the fireworks, you're just like, this is awesome. It got you excited. Mr. Z, let's let you speak on your thoughts about Triple H and how he feels. I mean, just insanity.
You said it best, and I'm going to take an example here of where relationships were compared to now. WrestleMania 31, perfect example, when they were showing Triple H getting ready for his match with Sting, side by side, both of them, joking, laughing, having a grand old time. WrestleMania years later, you barely seen any of them together.
Yes.
So it definitely, I think like you said, if everyone does their own research, like we did, the timelines, you definitely see it. But in the end, folks, I'm ready to move on.
And that's where we're at. At this point, I think stop vilifying Triple H. Let Triple H do his job. WWE needs Triple H. I don't think you're going to find anybody to replace him right now. And Triple H is ready. He's got us on the best road for WrestleMania. If you didn't like the Rumble, I don't know what to tell you. You're welcome to your opinion. That's perfectly fine. We can all agree to disagree. I thought the Royal Rumble was excellent. I think we made some major names last night. I'm excited. We're going to delve into that. We are done with this. Stop vilifying Triple H is basically our statement here. We believe Triple H needs the freedom to continue on and start today, as last night, but today as the new beginnings of the WWE going forward. I think we are in safe hands. We are going to look for a better WWE, and I think that was a big thing Triple H put out at the press release. If you didn't hear it all, go watch it. He did say, no, we're going to make sure everything's done correctly from here on out. And with Nick Khan in charge as the CEO, you have Ari Emanuel as the head of Endeavor, who's watching over all of this. He is well in tune, because when Ari Emanuel and TKO is formed, if you know what happened, Vince had to start answering to Ari. And all of a sudden, Vince started disappearing from everything. Well, telling you, if that doesn't show you the people in charge and who's taking charge and making sure it's positive going forward, I don't know what to tell you. Yes, this came down at the wrong time, at the worst time. It's sad. But it's done. Vince is gone forever. He is never coming back. It's a new day in WWE, and we are fully supporting Triple H and the regime that runs WWE going forward.
You know what the statement is, right? It's a new day. Yes, it is.
I was waiting for it.
Aye. Yes, it is. Anyways, talking about a new day, let's talk about the new deals with WWE. WWE going to Netflix in 2025, starting on January of 2025. Netflix will have Monday Night Raw. It seems to be staying on Monday. I believe it'll still be 3 hours. For people with premium Netflix, they'll have no commercials. And I guess it'll be showed live. So people on the West Coast, it's going to be coming on. It's going to be coming on at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, which is great because now we won't have to run our reviews so late in the evening. Because it kills me. Mr. Clarke's doing it on the next day, and I'm doing it at 11 o'clock at night, and we all got live. So good. But it should be interesting. I'm sure it'll be where you can watch it. If you don't get to watch it live, I'm sure it'll be either capable of DVRing it or it'll be, on a replay being on Netflix. But we're moving into a new era. This is a 10-year deal with a 5-year opt-out if it doesn't work out after 5 years, and a 10-year add-on that Netflix has the option to go 10 more years beyond that. It's $500 million a year for $5 billion over the 10-year agreement. Congratulations to WWE, changing the game forever. It's going to be interesting how we see it. I'm excited to see Netflix and what they're going to do with WWE. I'm sad to see that the story is WWE Network is going to die. I don't know if it's truly the WWE Network or if it's just shifting to Netflix and we're still going to get it on Netflix, or if Netflix will just integrate it into everything. We're going to have to wait and see. We know overseas, outside the United States, it'll be gone in 2025. It'll all be incorporated into Netflix. And then somewhere in the United States, the Peacock deal, I believe, runs up in 2026. So we may be watching WrestleMania 42 or 43 on Netflix. Who knows? It should be interesting. Mr. Z, your thoughts on Netflix and Raw?
Talk about changing the game. I mean, obviously WWE is understanding, Triple H specifically, that everybody else in charge understands that streaming is the big thing now, and they jumped on one of the biggest platforms out there. I'm looking forward to what's next.
Yes, Mr. Clarke, your thoughts on Netflix Raw going to Netflix?
Well, let's start with pertaining to the WWE Network and that going away. People are acting like they're not going to archive this stuff. So if they want to bring it back down the line, if they ever need to, like, they're always going to have access to their own content.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as someone who's in a household that has Netflix, obviously I'm ecstatic. It's like, yeah, I get to watch Raw live on West Coast time because I'm an hour difference from you guys. And like you said, that means we could start the podcast on the review show earlier also.
Yes.
Congratulations to WWE for making this money, for being smart about having something. They're going to have Raw on streaming Netflix. They're going to have SmackDown on USA Network. And they're going to have NXT on the CW. So whether you're talking about cable TV, streaming, or free TV, as from a business perspective, they got it all covered.
And
I think is the smartest.
And that's in the United States, so that's the U.S. Everywhere else, it's all going to be on Netflix.
That includes SmackDown and NXT internationally?
Yes, internationally, SmackDown and CW are on Netflix internationally.
Interesting.
So, yes.
So for international users, I mean, they really hit the jackpot then.
Yes.
Like, you just got subscribe to Netflix.
Hell yeah.
You have all WWE programming that you want, plus whatever else
I want to know
has in general.
I just want to know what the boost in pay is going to be, because if I have to upgrade my Netflix deal for no commercials, I just need to know what I'm spending.
Now consider this though: you may not get commercials, but you still may get like WWE advertising, like the way they do with PLEs.
Yeah,
that's fine. But yeah, I'm curious about that.
Can't wait to see it. Other big news this week: Dwayne The Rock Johnson is now a member of the board of TKO. He was brought onto the board of TKO, and also he was given the rights to The Rock. He owns all the trademark and all the rights to The Rock. The Rock, oddly enough, joining the board of directors at TKO. After the fallout, you wonder if this is all more. There was a reason, but this is huge. The Rock has become a cultural, a historical, a phenomenon beyond wrestling. I mean, he is known around the world in so many different aspects. He's a movie star, a wrestler, a former football player. He is a mogul. I mean, he owns his own tequila brand. He owns several other. He's either owns or part of other organizations and brands. I mean, this man is a global force. I know a lot of people are just waiting when he's going to run for president, but I think his last comments. I think with his last comments, I don't think it's in the cards for him. I think he teased us with his little show. But The Rock on the board of directors of TKO, in charge of now WWE and UFC. What a big name to add into that element. And here we are, two of the biggest names in the attitude era of professional wrestling are running WWE in a way. The Rock and Triple H. Well, never mind. Let me rewind that. The Rock and D-Generation X, honestly, running WWE because Sean is in charge of NXT. And if you want to even get crazier, not only do we have like Shawn Michaels, Triple H running WWE creatively, as WWE as Triple H runs the main roster, Shawn Michaels runs NXT. We have The Rock on the board of directors, and even it seems like Cody. Cody's working in the backstage area, doing different things with creative and road agent stuff. He's working kind of what he would have been doing in AEW, but not without the title, but enjoying it. And we know CM Punk is working very closely with a lot of the kids down in NXT. And there's a lot of videos out there where he's talking with the girls. He went and found Cora Jade while he was down there. And then he had a beautiful video working with Trick Williams, Carmelo Hayes, Lexis King, getting warmed up for the Royal Rumble. And these kids were excited. What CM Punk said he wanted to do in AEW to work with these younger kids, and then they didn't want to work with him for whatever reason. He's over here, and you can see Trick Williams, Carmelo Hayes, Alexis King. They were all excited to be having the opportunity to spend time with CM Punk in the ring. He was over there training. You can see this guy is happy. He was excited to be in the ring, bumping around with them. And then, hell, who would have ever thought in a day and age that we would see Steve Corino and CM Punk on WWE cameras together in a WWE facility? I mean, that right there, you just makes you go, holy shit. Or do I feel old? One of the two.
The king of old school and the best in the world. Hell.
Yes. So your thoughts on all of this, Mr. Clarke? The Rock.
If we could, well, I'm gonna touch on NXT real quick though.
Yes.
If we call Paul Levesque, Papa H, are we at some point, or are they at some point gonna start calling CM Punk Uncle Punk?
Maybe.
Now, The Rock on the board of TKO, I still think a part of it is just to help save face, which is not a bad thing.
No.
To try to take the sour taste out of our collective mouths. I'm like, who doesn't like Dwayne Johnson? Whether you call him The Rock or not, who doesn't like DJ?
Yeah.
Because he always finds, when he's talking to you, whether it's a promo or whether he's just being interviewed, he always comes from a place of authenticity. He's always looking to see, how are we going to resonate with the humanity of people, not just, I'm trying to sell you something. See, Paul Heyman, as good as he is, and he is very good, sometimes you can tell based on the point of what he's saying, like he's trying to sell you something. Dwayne Johnson very rarely feels like that.
So
I think that's just excellent. And this is the proper person to have as your face.
Yeah.
Or a face, if not the face.
So can we say the So can we say the Samoan dynasty is safe in WWE for years to come?
Oof. Yeah.
With the Rock on the board,
Good.
with the Rock on the board of directors, start moving some of these characters that may have not been heavy favorites to come to WWE, looking like more of a. It might just happen. I mean, we know a lot of these boys. It seems very. Well, I mean, Mr. Z, you know better, but I mean, look at the timing in this. The Rock is now on the board of directors. A lot of the other dynasty members, a lot of the other bloodline members, whatever you want to call them, Jacob Fatu, Tamatanga, all these guys' contracts seem to be free or they're not signed to somewhere. So it's very interesting. He's winding up on the board of directors when these big names, who have made huge names, whether it's in New Japan or the independent scenes, are out there. And now that The Rock's there, would they maybe feel a little more safe? I mean, I think everybody's going to feel more safe coming back on board with WWE now, especially after you know who is gone from the board and from the company, period. But I mean, Rock on the board, I mean, does that bring in more of these guys?
I don't know if that directly brings them in, but I think it's kind of a neutral stance to me. Like, if you have the merit, then yes. I think things will be done more in merit than one guy's vision.
Mr. Z? Are you like top dollar? Are you going to make some change?
Yeah. The fact that, like you said, the Attitude Era is running
supreme.
things. Yes. And people talked about how great that era was. Okay, well, now let's see it. What these guys could do creatively. The Rock, obviously, like I said, pop culture icon. He's up there with, for lack of a better term, Flair. You know, people know who he is.
No, I'm sorry, he's so above Flair.
Thank you.
But you
That's what I was going to say.
I'm saying. Like, people know who he is.
Yes.
But, bless you.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson took what Hulk Hogan did and then took it up a level.
Yeah, I mean, he was like for a minute, for the minute there, he was the face of the UFC. He was always there.
There you go.
So people seen him there. They've seen him on movies, but now he's in charge. He's the face of TKO now. Like, blows my mind.
As long as we don't talk about Black Adam.
Oh, damn. You had to go there. I was trying not to. But you said
or Baywatch.
What is this?
You know what the sad part is? I like both movies.
I didn't mind Black Adam, so
what this does for the rest of the dynasty, I can't wait. If this means that they're gonna kind of be like, if that sways their opinion to go, I'm all for it.
Hey, we are big supporters of the Samoan Werewolf, Jacob Fatu. We are in full support of Booker T getting him signed to the WWE. Bring that monster in.
I gladly buy that man another beer.
There you go.
No hesitation.
Other news: Triple H talking about moving the product to a more centric and more real life product, more realistic product. Is Triple H's goal. And Triple H said it last night. I think we're closer to an Attitude Era than we've ever been before. We went to Golden Era, to the Character Era, into the Attitude Era, into the John Cena era is pretty much as I saw it, or the PG era, I guess, to the era we're in, and now we are into the new. I think we're into the new era. And so I'm excited to see this get incorporated. Are we going to see a little blend of what Eric Bischoff used to bring us when he ran WCW in the early days when the NWO was exciting, not when they were like 25,000 members deep, and you had to have a notebook.
Black and white.
Yes. Well, you had black and white, black and red. Then you had black and red. You had the Wolfpack. You had black and white, but then you had black and white Team B. When you couldn't rent a limo in Orlando, Florida, because the NWO was in town and every limo company was booked. Gentlemen, your thoughts on realism, a more sports centric based product, a more realistic based product. I think we saw some of that on Monday, and one of the best promos we've gotten in forever with CM Punk and Cody Rhodes. I'm definitely for it, but let's see what you have to say. We'll give the floor to Mr. Z.
Mr. Tony, are you taking notes? Because this man's about to take you to school and show you how to get everything done. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm looking forward to what's next.
Mr. Clarke?
Speaking of Mr. Khan taking notes, you would think it's since he was such a fan of New Japan, the most sports-centric wrestling company out there right now, until Triple H maybe takes it that way. But he hasn't. And I think because the reason why I like what I like about New Japan is because it can be a mature product without being gross, without being... It's like it doesn't insult your intelligence. And that's all we've asked. Do not insult our intelligence. WWE can definitely go a more mature route without having to go blood, without necessarily having to go, cursing and all that. Those are devices. That has nothing to do with good storytelling. And that is what WWE is best at. And so you take it into a more with more reality where we can really invest in it because, either something we've gone through or we've seen this situation somewhere else, whether it's a friend, whether it's a coworker, whatever. It's just better. I think when you have a realistic product, it's just better to invest in. Easier to invest in, I guess would be a better phrase. And so I'm very excited to see how this is implemented, how this has gone about, and let's go.
Yes. And again, I think a big thing is the culture between Japanese and America is very different. The Japanese are very used to their warriors, in this case, wrestlers, being fighters and fighting to the end. I mean, you talk about the samurais and the ninjas. I mean, this is Japanese culture, so that's why Japanese wrestling is a little bit different than American wrestling, and why sometimes Japanese wrestling may not work in the United States, because we didn't grow up with that ideal of what the warrior, and in this case, the wrestlers, were kind of were. We're here. We grew up in the story-based. We grew up with the good guy, bad guy storyline. Japan was just more of the warriors where you fought to the death almost, and that's what blended into their wrestling without anybody having to die. They come a little closer at times, but in America, we were always about the good guy winning. It was more storytelling about, and that's when fans got involved and threw stuff, and the culture's changed. But I think we can definitely do a sports-centric based a little more in WWE. I think we're getting that. I think the blend in WWE is far better. I think Triple H has given us great storylines. If you didn't see all the storylines last night, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know how anybody could not like the Rumble last night. I think Cody and Punk ending it. We saw that story. Punk kind of snapping. Is he going to go is this where he goes full heel? Are we going to get heel CM Punk? Did he kind of snap last night? He started getting a little boost towards the end there. And then he goes, I didn't wait 10 years. I didn't wait 10 years to come back to lose to Dusty's kid. Again, Punk's really good at, crossing that line. So we'll see what we're going to get. I think we're moving in the right direction. I think Triple H just has his finger on the pulse better than anybody. And WWE working with TNA. Now we know that there is somewhat of a partnership there. We saw Jordan Grace arrive. This is the second time in WWE Royal Rumble history. Last year we had Mickie James, which made a little more sense. But this year, when you see Jordan Grace show up not only on TV, in the WWE ring, at the Royal Rumble, but wearing the TNA Championship, and this year, massive putover for her and TNA, and even acknowledging Naomi, Trinity Fatu's storyline, blending that in, and then at the pressure, Triple H gave Jordan Grace her props, and Jordan Grace has come out on Twitter and says it's not over yet. So we may be looking at more of this crossover. Of course, I don't get how some people can come out and go, how can you have the TNA Women's Champion on your in your Royal Rumble and her not win? Her get eliminated makes her look bad, and you're like,
no.
What?
The Royal Rumble is two things. Yes, there's a winner to go for the road for WrestleMania, but its bigger function for the overall roster is to be a showcase.
Mhm.
It's to show what can these people do, what kind of in-ring stories can they tell, be entertaining or be serious, or say, hey, here's a future match we're going to invest in. Here's a teaser to see, are you down?
Let me throw you something on that one too, because people were talking about that. I'll take you back to what Wrestle Kingdom last year. Tama Tonga, Carl Anderson for the Never Belt. People were mad that Anderson lost the belt. I'm like, that's storytelling. You don't know if they're gonna fight again? Let it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Shinsuke beating Great Muta. They were like, well, why'd that happen? Well, it's Muta's last match. If you know the history of bowing out, he did it perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
So, the certain fan base or people in general, they can whine, complain all they want, and that's fine. But also understand what stories are being told.
Of course, one of the greatest quotes I think I read on the internet today, and I'll ask you, gentlemen, how do you feel about Jade Cargill making her main roster debut from her indie working in AEW? Somebody talked about her coming to WWE on the main roster and trying to sell AEW as the training ground. I was like,
well, hell, if Matt Cardona can call WWE his developmental, which, if you understand what he's saying,
yes,
makes perfect sense. Jade Cargill definitely used AEW as her developmental. And the fact is I don't usually believe in perfection, but the way she was debuted, the way she was shown off before the Royal Rumble, and then the way she debuted at the Royal Rumble was perfection. That is how you get a new star over. Point blank.
And the shocking part is that Jade Cargill's come out and admitted to not being able to remember some of the spots she was supposed to do in the Rumble. But we didn't see it.
That's perfectly fine.
We didn't see it, so that's the big key.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, but wait, yeah, that's WWE doing it perfect. Yeah. You didn't see the screw up.
The camera work last night was great. The camera work was amazing.
I'm impressed the fact that Jade Cargill got Nia up and dumped her by herself, even with the magic behind it. Still got her up. That was impressive.
Impressive, but I would
do it right.
Impressive, but I was still hoping she'd do it because I mean that's how she needed to be presented with that. And when she came out, I'm like, she needs to be the one single-handedly to eliminate Nia Jax. If she does that in one way or another, she will be made mostly in WWE.
And Becky's face sold it perfectly. I love it.
Well, let's shift momentum here as we get later in the show. Mr. Z, tell us about New Japan Pro Wrestling. Give us a tease, give us a sample, give us a taste, give us a little flavor play of what's going to go down on the New Japan Pro Wrestling Rebound podcast this week. What you got for us?
I got results coming out on Tuesday from Road to New Beginning. One of the main events was Ren Narita and Shota Umino, which was a stellar match, a grudge match. Went up and down the arena. The little small venue they were at, it was supposed to be the way it was. I'll be talking about that. I'll be talking about the status of Tama Tonga, and the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada, because we're getting closer to New Beginning in Osaka, and they're not on the card. So we'll see what happens through there. And then I'll talk about the next show for New Beginning in Nagoya. Main event for that one is a 10-man tag, LIJ and just 5 guys. Paulus, I know you love that stable name.
Oh, God.
But another one. Just
what all the Japanese burger joint? What?
I guess. And then of course your co-main is leading into Osaka, the 10-man cage match of United Empire and Bullet Club War Dogs. This is getting intense. These guys are barely making it through matches now. They're not getting a full square match in. It's always leading to a no contest before it starts or a disqualification during the match. So tune in with me on Tuesday and we'll talk more about it.
And where do you stand, and how do you feel about Bullet Club Gold?
You had to go there. You had to go there.
I mean, how do you feel about
My
Safety
heart-
Scissors, Jay White now?
I'm heartbroken. Tony, you're
gonna cry more because it looks more and more like the Rainmakers headed to AEW.
No.
I think you'll be singing a little Justin Timberlake very soon. Cry me a
I will be crying a
river.
river. I'll be crying a river. I'm not the only New Japan friend out there that talks about him, and it's hot. We're not happy about this.
Safety Scissors, Jay White, now part of the Bang Bang Scissor Gang. Yes, we proclaimed him a new name. He's the Safety Scissors because, well,
Well, you see, my new background, I'm not even showing that town. Come on now. Let's just leave it at that.
Mr. Clarke, do you have anything to bring to us today?
So much. I haven't even looked at much with everything that's happened this week.
Yeah.
Really, just the last couple days.
Oh, yeah.
A
Well,
lot
it
of
looks
we
like
kind of really talked about already.
we finally can sit back and go, the story's going to be finished. We know what's going to happen. Everybody can quick mind. Well, no, there's still people crying. Still people rooting for The Rock to show up so we can get The Rock and Roman Night 1 and Cody and Roman Night 2. And then The Rock's not coming to Mania.
No.
Well, he may come to Mania. He may be a special referee in all of this. I don't know. I think Cody's gonna. I want to see what they're gonna do, but we know Cody is gonna take on Roman at WrestleMania. Get in, get with it. The story's gonna happen. Quit writing, crying. Let's get over it. We saw it at the Rumble last night. Cody was pointing everywhere and anywhere, but he definitely was pointing at Roman last night. We got the moments between him and Roman. We will be seeing that go out.
Shot beautiful from the skybox to the ring was beautiful.
Oh yeah,
Roman holding the belt.
but we know the story is going to be there. I don't think Rock is going to be in a match at Mania, at least not with Roman. Will he play some other role? Maybe. I think they definitely have to set up something. If you're going to run back Cody and Roman, you have to take it up to the next level. And we have to figure out how Cody's going to overcome Roman and deflect the interference, because we saw that even last night. Solo Sikoa was able to get into the four-way dance and a little bit help Roman come out and still have championship. So this is going to be a very, very interesting story on how we're going to get there and what type of match. I still believe you do a Hell in a Cell, and I think if you want to, you can put Rock as a special referee in that match, because then you can tantalize and tease a little more of that Rock-Roman storyline after Mania, and even start that build for next year, because Roman's going to go away after he loses his title, because it's the only way it makes sense. Yes, I already know he's kind of gone away a bazillion times, but I mean, officially he's going to go away for a while to go lick his wounds, and then he'll come back. But I mean, I think Roman versus Cody, Hell in a Cell, night 2 at WrestleMania, the big main event. When Cody wins that title, they raise that Hell in a Cell, and Cody's celebrating. You're getting a bigger pop. Can they do Cody versus Roman one-on-one? Sure. But again, I think everybody's going to be sitting there waiting for shenanigans. You put him in Hell in a Cell, and then, I mean, you could still have shenanigans. Yes, so Sikoa could still pull a cane, rip the door off the cage or whatever. But, I mean, I think we need something big this year at WrestleMania if we're going to see Roman and Cody run it back, to not just to solidify that idea that there's not going to be interference, or at least be able to suspend that disbelief that there won't be interference. So if you put it in a Hell in a Cell, at least you can go, okay, there shouldn't be any interference, but for us over smart marks, like, well, yes, they can still break in somehow. They can be I mean, there's little things in there, but to the main audience, you've got to give them some way to say, okay, this is how we're going to do it.
I would love to see Cody and Roman in a Hell in a Cell match. I'd love to see Cody at 100% in a Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah. But we saw Cody not at it. We see Cody at not 100% in a Hell in a Cell and come out victorious, so I can't wait to see what he does at 100%. And I don't think there's anything with Rock, The Rock being a special guest referee. I mean, he's on the board of directors, so I mean, it's a lot easier to see The Rock involved in something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I hate to. I gotta admit this one. I want to see what's gonna happen between KO and Logan Paul after that whole shenanigan went down too.
Jeez.
I don't know. It depends
Don't
on a
know
lot of
why.
other storylines. I can't wait to see what we get on Monday between Damian Priest and where R-Truth's going to stand in all this. After all the shenanigans with R-Truth, that's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see what we're going to get from Cody and CM Punk after Cody eliminated Punk in the Rumble. Are they still going to be friends? Or are we going to see heel Punk? And what about Punk and Drew McIntyre's story that we got there last night? So there's a lot there. And what's going to happen with Seth Rollins? Who's going to face Rollins? What is Gunther going to have to say? I mean, there is so much coming out of the Rumble that if you said the Rumble was boring, it was mediocre, they didn't do a whole lot, it was safe. I'm like, they gave you a story. They continued a story between. People are saying that Triple H took the safe way out with the Rumble. That's all I'm saying. But I mean, I think you got Drew McIntyre. How is he going to react to being eliminated by Punk? I mean, there's a couple people that can eliminate Drew that wouldn't be that big of a deal, but if it would have been Jey Uso or Punk, you knew there was something there. Gunther getting eliminated again by Cody. What is that going to set up? Are we going to get Gunther and Cody in between now and the WrestleMania at least? Because you know Gunther's got to be pissed. That's 2 years in a row that he got eliminated by Cody.
By the same guy.
Yeah, so the story's there. And then you've got Cody and Punk. What's the fallout? Because they left you on a... If you don't realize it, they left you on a cliffhanger from last Raw because Punk said, what's going to happen on Sunday? And so now we all want to know, well, what happened on Sunday? Are they still friends? It's going to be interesting. Raw should be good. SmackDown, now we're going to probably get to see the reaction of Roman Reigns. Are we going to get a conversation right now between Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes? What's going on with the Uso brothers? We saw them start the match. It didn't really go in the direction I thought it would. So I don't know if we're going to get any storyline between them, but a lot of things there to talk about, a lot of there's things to see. Of course, me and Mr. Clarke will be here tomorrow night with your Monday Night Raw review, covering everything that goes on Monday night. So make sure you're here for that. And then Mr. Z will be here Tuesday with the New Japan Pro Wrestling Rebound, covering everything going on in the world of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Wednesdays, you've got Dynamite Review Show. Friday, will be covering SmackDown. And in between, we'll speckle in whatever else may happen. Gentlemen, before we wrap up the show, is there any comments, statements, anything else you want to say?
I'm ready for Monday.
Right?
You're ready for your football game. I know you're dying. You're on the edge of your seat. Time's ticking away. Will the Niners make the Super Bowl?
I'm just sitting here.
Will the Niners make the Super Bowl? Will they return to be there for another opportunity? Could they win their 6th Super Bowl? Will they tie themselves with the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New England Patriots as the only teams in football history to have 6 Super Bowl championships? Could the 49ers make their moment? Is this the redemption from Brock Purdy after last year being beaten down and injured when the Niners should have possibly gone then, but running on their 4th-string quarterback and losing to the Philadelphia Eagles? Or will this be the year of the Lions? Will the Lions finally make it to the first time ever to the Super Bowl? Is it a Lions Super Bowl? And, of course, we don't know who they're going to take on. Will it be the Chiefs? Will it be the Ravens? Or is Kansas City going to come back-to-back? Is Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce going to lead the Kansas City Swifties to a new...
Oh, God. You did not just say that.
The Kansas City Swifties to a Super Bowl victory this year? Or will Lamar Jackson finally get to show up and show out that he is more than what he is what everybody said he is? Can he take the Baltimore Ravens to their 3rd Super Bowl victory? We are going to have to wait and see.
I'm going to check right now since we're here. You want to bring it up? Oh, yeah. 14-7. It's KC right now with 7 minutes in the 2nd quarter.
Let's go, Swifties. Let's go, Swifties.
Somewhere out there, Denise Salcedo is very happy, who's a major big Swiftie in the wrestling podcast world.
Anyways, gentlemen, this is Value Wrestling. We thank you all for watching this. If you're taking time out of your day later to watch us, we appreciate you for being here. Make sure you drop your comments below. Always join in the conversation. We appreciate when you join the conversation. We had over 100 people last night join us in the chat at different variant times. That was awesome. We want to build on that. We want to do that more. We want to get you involved in these conversations. Make sure you ring that bell for notifications so you always know when we put up new content or going live. And if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. We are trying to be one of the fastest growing wrestling podcasts out here in the IWC, in the podcast realm. We are here, again, like we say, we're not pretenders, we're contenders. We're coming for the crown. We're going to be number one. You can believe that, ladies and gentlemen, on the Big Tyme, along with Mr. Paulus Clarke and Miguel Z, the New Japan Master. We appreciate you all here. We'll be here next week at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on the Value Wrestling, right here on YouTube, to do the weekly rebound again, like we do each and every week. Make sure you catch all of our new content, and each and every day we are doing, or at least I am doing, however you want to put it, this date in wrestling history. Have a moment to reminisce. It's a quick, short, it's entertaining. You might learn something. So join us, join in the content. Hope you like it. Let's shut this down. Let's get out of here. And until the next one, we're out.